Welcome back to Camo's Mirror, the podcast where we look in the mirror at ourselves and the world around us. I'm your host, Camo, and as always, it's a pleasure to have you join us. Today, we'll take a moment to reflect on the influences shaping our lives. But first, let me remind you that this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. Please consult certified professionals for personalized advice. The title of today's topic is The Power of Vision, Avoiding the Pitfalls of Reactive Thinking. Today, we're exploring how the company we keep influences our energy and mindset, and why it's crucial to surround ourselves with those who have a broader proactive vision rather than a narrow reactive approach. Joining me today is Shulamith, a subject matter expert in personal development and someone who has spent years studying the impact of our relationships and mental focus. Shulamith, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Camo. I'm really excited to explore this topic with you and our listeners today.
So am I. Let's dive in. Vision is such a powerful concept. It shapes not only what we do but also how we do it. In your experience, why is having a proactive vision so important for personal success?
That's a great question, Camo. A proactive vision is the cornerstone of personal growth. It allows us to set clear goals and gives us a direction to move toward. Vision is more than just having a dream. It's about seeing potential beyond the immediate situation, recognizing opportunities, and making choices that align with that bigger picture. When we have a proactive vision, we're more likely to persevere through setbacks and to innovate rather than merely react to circumstances. Without a vision, people tend to fall into what I call a reactive mindset. This is when life is simply happening to them, instead of them being active participants shaping their own lives. And as you mentioned earlier, Camo, the company we keep plays a significant role in either broadening or limiting that vision.
Absolutely. It's interesting how much we take the influence of those around us for granted. And speaking of influences, Shulamith, I'd love for us to talk about a very relevant verse from the Bible that comes to mind. The Bible says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." Could you unpack that a bit for our listeners?
Of course, Camo. That verse is from Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18, and it really captures the essence of what we're discussing today. When the Bible says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish," it's highlighting the importance of having a sense of purpose and direction. Without a vision, people become aimless, lacking the motivation and purpose that gives life meaning. In a way, it's like driving a car with no destination. You may keep moving, but you're not going anywhere meaningful. On a practical level, having a vision helps us stay anchored during challenging times. It enables us to see beyond temporary setbacks and to stay committed to long-term goals. The people who lack vision, or even worse, who are surrounded by those who lack vision, are at risk of getting caught in cycles of mediocrity and stagnation. That's why it's so important to be mindful of the energy we surround ourselves with.
Very true. So let's talk about that. How does the company we keep affect our thinking? Do you have any examples that illustrate this?
Definitely. The people around us act as mirrors. They reflect back attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors that we often absorb unconsciously. For instance, if you're surrounded by people who are always complaining and viewing life through a lens of scarcity, you'll likely adopt a similar outlook. On the other hand, if you're around people who are ambitious, who see opportunities even in challenges, it's almost inevitable that you'll start thinking the same way. Consider someone who spends a lot of time with friends who take risks and push their boundaries. That individual will likely start to feel encouraged to do the same, to think beyond what's comfortable, and to expand their vision of what's possible. There's an element of shared momentum in a group of proactive thinkers that is contagious. On the flip side, if someone is surrounded by people who are always in a reactive mode, focusing only on problems, blaming circumstances, or refusing to see opportunities, that person will be influenced by the same narrow thinking. They'll feel restricted, less likely to innovate or pursue new opportunities. It's the classic case of, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
I've heard that phrase before, and it really resonates. It's a great reminder that our environment has a profound impact on how we see the world. So, how can someone make sure they're surrounding themselves with the right kind of influences?
It starts with awareness. Reflect on the people you spend the most time with. Are they encouraging you to grow, to see new possibilities, to push beyond your comfort zone? Or do they keep you in a constant state of limitation, reacting to problems, and never really moving forward? Once you identify the impact these individuals have on you, you can make deliberate choices about who you invest your energy in. Another strategy is to seek out mentors or communities that align with your vision. Surrounding yourself with people who are already where you want to be can be incredibly motivating. Even if it means spending less time with those who drain your energy, it's worth it for your long-term growth.
That's powerful. And I think it also requires a lot of courage, doesn't it? Sometimes it's tough to break away from familiar relationships, even when we know they're not good for us.
Absolutely, Camo. It takes courage and conviction. But remember, the goal is to elevate your energy and expand your vision. By choosing to be around people who challenge and uplift you, you're giving yourself the best chance at fulfilling your potential. It's about respecting yourself enough to prioritize your own growth.
Well said, Shulamith. As we wrap up today, I want to thank you for such an insightful discussion. I hope our listeners feel inspired to take a closer look at their environment and the people in their lives.
Thank you, Camo. It's been an absolute pleasure discussing this with you and our listeners. I hope they take something meaningful away from this conversation.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to Camo's Mirror. If you found today's episode valuable, please subscribe, like and share the podcast, and consider leaving a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts about today's topic. Until next time, remember to look in the mirror not just at your reflection but into it.